The amazing thing about living above the Arctic Circle is not the fact that you live for 2 months without sunlight from November 15th to January 15th. It's actually that during those 2 dark months, if you look really close, about 2 or 3 times a week, you can see the sun reflected back in the form of the northern lights. And it's a pretty huge deal. I spent 5 years living in Tromsø, Norway, above the Arctic Circle, and everyone got really excited towards the middle of January because January 16th was the big day when we had 1 whole minute of sunlight. Yeah, pretty amazing. Everyone would go to the town square because there was only one place where the sun came. So we'd all gather around and we'd wait, we'd eat these special rolls, and we'd celebrate for 1 minute. It's a really short party. And we'd have a great time. And I thought a lot about that imagery after 5 years when I stopped searching around the world for the perfect place to live, and I landed back in my home of Brookings, South Dakota. It's a rural, railroad town with a university, about 23,000 people. It's a place that most of my high school classmates wanted to leave from. I did the same thing, right? But coming back, I could see those visions, those little specks of light, because here was a place that I could actually build into the community that I wanted to live in. But to do that, we needed one thing. We needed creativity. Because I didn't move to Brookings because we have low taxes and a research park and great roads and these things. That's not why people are coming to the town. I'm coming to the town to hang out with the creative people that are doing events, that are starting businesses, that are fun to be with. And as city leaders, people who are working in communities, it's not something that you can do. We have to give up control because creativity, the people that are creative, are what make our communities great. And so in Brookings, we've started something that's called crowdsourcing creativity. Now, when you think about crowdsourcing, you might think of Kickstarter, where you put a project up online and get funding. What we're actually talking about is inviting anyone in the community to work on a big problem together. In our case, it's making Brookings the creative capital of the North. This is Brookings, remember, not Brooklyn, all right? So we're working on this big project, and what I think about when I think about creativity and building are the people that came before us. I'm 5th generation here in South Dakota, descended from homesteaders. And these people built the foundation that now we live in. And I think today we're called to be homesteaders to build our communities for those that will come after us. So what does this look like in a community? Well, it doesn't start from government. It starts from people who care. In our case, there's 3 of us. It starts pretty small. And we learned 5 lessons along the way that you can steal to create your own crowdsourced creativity efforts. So the first thing we learned that you have to do is feed the leaders. We started by hosting a simple TEDx Brookings event. We had just much like this. We had 8 speakers share big ideas for about 10 minutes each. We had 80 people come with ticket sales. We paid for the food, so there was no budget to this event. But what happened is people got excited. We got a bunch of people in the same room, and even though we're from a small town, they actually met people from their own community that were interesting. Shocking, right? So they said, let's do it again. So 6 months later, we had our second TEDx Brookings event. And we not only had 150 attendees, we had 40 people who volunteered to put it on. So what we did was we gave permission to these leaders to create their own events. Permission they didn't even need, but now they were seen as leaders in the community. We not only learned that we had to feed the leaders, but we learned that we had to infuse the arts. This doesn't just mean visual arts. This means having yoga before TEDx. This means having the high school drumline come march people out of the TEDx event. And what infusing the arts in our events and in our spaces does is it gets people to think differently, and it supports those creative people that make me want to move to that town, right? You're supporting them economically by paying them for their services, but you're also giving them the platform to be seen as a member of the community. So fewer hotel conference rooms, more interesting spaces with local coffee, local beer, and crazy stuff like drumlines, right? So the third thing that we learned about crowdsourcing creativity is that we have to be radically inclusive. One of our TED speakers talked about making Brookings the breastfeeding-friendly capital of the United States. So the goal here in Brookings is we want to have a space in every business where a woman could breastfeed. And we didn't just talk about it, right? She breastfed her son on stage while talking about it. And we had, speakers in our most recent event talking about preserving the Lakota language. And what this does when we're being radically inclusive is it's telling other people you are welcome in this community. You are welcome as a leader. And as a young person deciding where to live, I want to live in a place that's interesting. I want to live in a place that's diverse. I don't just want low taxes and nice buildings. I want interesting people. By welcoming people in our communities, we invite them to share their unique talents and skills and make our communities more creative. So the fourth lesson we learned about crowdsourcing creativity is that your community needs a welcome mat. That place, when someone new to town comes or a visitor comes, you say, just go there, right? If you go there, you'll figure it out. This probably isn't the gates of City Hall, right? Not the most welcoming of mats. What we decided to create was something called 1 Million Cups, which is a program started by the Kauffman Foundation. Simple premise. Every week, 9 o'clock at the Children's Museum on Wednesday, someone has 6 minutes to share a project they're working on. Everyone in the audience has 20 minutes to help them finish it or make it better. It happens every single week. We just had our 69th edition, so we've been going almost a year and a half now. And we get someone to sponsor coffee, which costs about $150 a month. So everyone gets coffee for free. So there's no reason not to attend, right? You get a little free coffee and you hear something that's going on in the community. But what this has become is grown from 15 people attending in a small cafe to now having over 150 people on a Wednesday morning talking about ideas for our own community. It's that place when someone is new to town, you say, just go to the Children's Museum at 9 a.m., you'll find someone. You can sneak in anonymously if you don't want to be seen, or you can go shake hands and meet everyone that you need to in the community. So how can we inspire people to build those welcome mats? Now the fifth lesson we learned is that you need to be audacious and create moonshots. You know, I told you our audacious goal, which is to be the creative capital of the North, which is North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota. Now throwing out this audacious goal, it makes people take risks to take part. You know, we called ourselves the creative capital of the North, and all of a sudden we get press in the statewide cultural magazine. We make t-shirts like this to call ourselves the creative capital. Now people around the country are wearing them and talking about Brookings as the creative capital. It becomes true because we say it is true. And we have the power as community members and as leaders to throw out that goal and invite our city to make it a reality. So we're really excited because this audacious goal has led to an amazing outcome, which we call Creativity Week. Creativity Week is a crowdsourced creativity festival. All we do is we put up a website, and for 1 week, we invite people to put their events on it, and we market it. The first year we did it, we had 38 events. It cost us about $15,000. We had over 3,500 attendees. I hosted one of those events, which was TEDx. The other 37, other people did. And the great thing about it is almost all of them happen every single week. So what we're doing is just reflecting what's happening in our community back to the community so they can celebrate it. Now, we just hosted our second Creativity Week on October 1st. We had 48 events, over 4,000 attendees, and amazing things happening, like someone deciding to put up a Before I Die wall over a space that had burned down. So now we have interactive public art in a place that used to be empty just because we said, hey, if you have a creative idea, put it on our website and we'll market it as this festival. We also came up with this realization that other communities need to see what's beautiful about themselves. So we started something called Social Tilt, which is a conference we take to other communities, and we have half the speakers from outside of the community because they're experts, because they're from more than 100 miles away, right, which makes you an expert. And then the other half of the speakers are from the community itself, because we don't often realize what we have within our own city limits, right? And so we want to celebrate those facts and get people involved and invite them to be creative with us. And that's what I want to do today, is invite you to share your creative ideas. Because Brookings, we don't have a monopoly on creativity. Cities don't have a monopoly on creativity, and that's why it's such a great thing to focus on. You're not stealing a business from your next door community because you have lower taxes. You're just inspiring your own citizens to share their creativity. And so we have a project called Homestead. We invite you to upload and share your creative ideas and download and steal ours. So you can take our websites, the foundations you need to host an event, all the marketing materials and how-to. You can join our online community to talk with other people in this room and use our collaborative chat software to share ideas. So all of this is available for you as you build your homestead. Because creativity is what's going to make our communities unique and is going to be the foundation for future generations. You know, I look back and they have some great facial hair, but I hope that when people look back 4 or 5 generations from now, they're not going to think about what I did. They're going to think about the people that I inspired. Because that's what our job is as elected officials. We are not going to be the ones that will drive or enforce or mandate creativity. It's not what we do that matters. It's who we inspire that matters. So I invite you to crowdsource creativity in your communities. When you do, you could be the next creative capital. Thank you.